So when you get back into it after, it sounds like having some time away from doing that, it seems like you were probably making some better batches with your extra knowledge, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely progressively got better. And like, so when I first started, I was still like experimenting with stuff. And like, even when I had a good bill that I was passing at stores and stuff, like I went to a CVS, for instance, right? And like each store has their own methods of like detecting counterfeit bills or whatever. So like Walgreens just has the counterfeit pen, right? They just mark it, which, I sprayed the lacquer on them, so they marked, fine. But then I went to a CVS, and I didn't know this, but I went to the CVS and they have the markers with the little black light on the cap. So they shined the black light and the strip didn't glow red. So like, even like I knew the strip glow red, but I didn't know that CVS had those black light pens or whatever. So like, they still accepted the bill because it had the strip and everything, but the cashier was like, "Oh, that's weird. I've never seen that before." And I was just kind of like,
oh shit.
Yeah. After that, I knew I needed to, make the strip glow red, and like tried taking like pink highlighters and breaking them open and soaking them in water to make like an invisible UV ink or whatever, and that didn't really work. And I got like neon colored pencils from Walmart and like tried to lightly draw on a line, and that worked pretty well. But like, it's just all these things. But it's like, through trial and error and CVS almost fucking me up at the register, caused me to beat that security feature, and it just went on from there.
So when you bring one of your bills to a register and it doesn't pass, it's not good enough, what does that cashier do? Do they just give it back to you, or what happens?
Pretty much. It's very rarely happened. Like, the only times I've been turned down were the stores that I went to over and over and over again, which was not a good decision.
Smart, no.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Nope.
But yeah, basically, so that was the thing. I wanted to make bills that, you couldn't prove that it was fake, even if you thought it was, right? Because it had, it marked with the pen. It had a strip and watermark. It had color shifting ink. The strip glowed red in the black light. I even put I got a fine tip glue pen to draw little lines on his shirt, because some people scratch the shirt to feel the texture or whatever. So that was the whole thing. It was I wanted to make bills to where it wasn't just cross my fingers and hope they accept it. You know what I mean? I was confident going into any store. Because like I said, even if I went to a store 10 times and they knew that they were getting a lot of counterfeit bills, and they didn't want to accept them anymore, they still couldn't call me out and say this bill's fake, because it's prove it. What do you mean? It's got everything, So then at that point, they would basically just be we've been getting a lot of counterfeit bills. I don't want to accept this, and they'd give it back, So it was,
then you just leave the store.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty stressful walking in and hoping your bill passes, though, no?
It was at first, for sure. But, I mean, once you break 10 or 20 of them, and it's really, you get used to it. And it's not, after 10 or 20 times, it's you hand them the bill and they just look at the strip and put it in the drawer. It's it's nothing, you know what I mean? Yep. Or they just mark it. And so it's after a while, I had no problem spending them. It was just real money.
Well, and also one of the good things about you going to the same stores is probably you maybe got recognized by some of the cashiers and be oh, he's good. Would that ever happen?
Yeah, I never considered that. But I mean, I don't know. I think it was mainly just because the thing where I fucked up was I'd go to a store, and then obviously when they accept the bills, it hits the bank, and eventually they find out it was counterfeit. So then they just start knowing that, oh, these kind $100, we've gotten counterfeit $100 bills, look out for counterfeits. But again, my bills had everything, so they couldn't really call me out per se, but they just whatever, not accept it or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which, like I said, that's only happened a handful of times. And I think I spent like almost $800,000, you know, at registers. So
That's a ridiculous amount of money.
there was one, like, I went to a mom and pop little like hippie store, and this is why, like, I went here, and I forget what I bought, like some stickers or something. I was just trying to break a bill. And I guess the owner was like the cashier. It was like a small business. And the woman kept like checking it, like marking it with the pen and holding it up. And, you know, I was like, is there a problem? Like, and she said, she was like, oh, I just want to make sure this is real because, like, you know, I'm a small business, and if this isn't real, like, this is how I pay my rent. And I was like, oh,
no.
I felt so bad. But at that point, it was like
It's
too late. So, like, you know, basically I ripped off the woman. I felt bad about it, though. And ever since then, I was like, yeah, I'm only going to you know, Walmarts and big corporations
We're
and
hitting
stuff.
Home Depot, Walmart,
Yeah.
the whole shebang.
So, well, actually, Lowe's and I believe Home Depot, they've got the bill validator machines. So I went to a Lowe's one time, and they put it in the machine. And I must have been lucky or something because, like, anytime the shit didn't pass, they still accepted it, and it went fine. So It was like, yeah, like at Lowe's, I went, and she put it in the machine because I didn't know they had the bill validator machines. And she put it in, and it beeped red. And then put it in, beeped red. So she called a manager over, and the manager held it up and like looked at the strip and looked at it and put it in, and it beeped red. But the manager was like, held it up again and looked at it and was like, oh, it's fine. You can accept it. Like, it must just be, you know, something's messing up. So I was like, you know, it's a close call. So I just never went back to a Lowe's. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like the CVS thing with the black lights and the Lowe's thing with the, you know what I mean? So, like, because of all these things, you learn which stores to avoid and which ones to go to, and you know what I mean? So it's like, that's why I kind of, there was probably about 10 or 15 big corporations that were like the right stores to go to, basically. Yeah, and I just went to those.
Was there a certain like security feature that was the hardest to replicate?
Probably the color shifting ink, the little 100. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, they all kind of had their challenges. Like the strip and the watermark, that was only adjusting the opacity. So you didn't see it through the face of the bill, but it was dark enough to see vividly when you held it up to the light. So, I mean, that was like, it wasn't necessarily like hard. It was just took a long time of kind of trial and error, you know. And like the little color shifting ink, like I found this eyeshadow that was like it's like interference powder, or like they call it holographic eyeshadow, but really it's like iridescent or something. It basically is like invisible until you shift it, and then it turns green, like a metallic green. So like I knew that was the right shit to use, but like it took a while to kind of figure out how to apply it to make it look right. But yeah.
I mean, that's got to be, the color shifting in particular, that's got to be really tough to replicate.
I mean, I figured out that if you, like, I would just adjust on the digital file, that 100 in the corner, and I adjusted it so it was just solid black. And then when you put that powder, the eyeshadow, like I basically used the eyeshadow as a pigment to make my own, like, ink, and then I'd kind of just draw on. But since I printed it black, then I went over it with the color shifting green, then it appeared to shift from green to black. You know what I mean?
You always try to make the bills that had the strips, or would you ever make bills that didn't have them, or what was your real like?
Oh no, they had strips and watermarks and.
Oh, you went the whole shebang on them.
Yeah. That was the whole thing. It was like I didn't want to walk into a store and like just hope that the cashier, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to gamble with my freedom. You know what I mean? It's like I wanted to make bills that.
So you'd always just make the newest style hundreds with the strips on them.
Oh no! So you mean the blue notes?
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Okay, yeah. So I was able to do those, right? But they just took too long. So I just did the 96 series mainly.
Oh,
like
okay.
the older ones with the It had the color shifting ink and the strip and watermark and all
Yep.
that. The Blue Note ones, like I did those as like a hobby almost, because it was a challenge, and like my ultimate goal was to counterfeit those and be able to do them fast, and but like, so that was a whole process, right? Like so I know that Crane and Company is this company that the Bureau of Engraving and Printing like subcontracts out to make the paper for money and the security features. So like knowing that, I realized that since it's a private company, they have to patent, their technology.
Of course.
So I went to Google Patents and found a patent under Crane Currency that was for lenticular motion. And it is the patent information, right? So it's like it explains exactly what that blue strip is and how it works and all that.
Oh, shit.
So from there, I just like sourced Chinese vendors and different companies to get this fly eye lenticular lens film from, and was able to make that strip. But it's like it's so much harder to do those Blue Notes that it's like it took me probably like 30 minutes to make one bill.
Yeah,
which is not profitable.
Fuck that.
Exactly. So like I just kept doing the 96 series. But my ultimate goal was to eventually like streamline the process and get faster at it. And,
Yeah.
because when I first started doing the 96 series, like it took me probably 20 minutes per bill, you know what I mean? Until I got it down, and then then I could do, 10,000 in like 6 or 8 hours or something.
Damn.
So yeah, I knew you could, once you start doing it, you get better at it and faster, and it, speeds up. So the ultimate goal was to get the Blue Notes faster,